September is one of the most magical months of the year, and I am really excited to take my third, hopefully third time lucky, attempt at TBR Tailspin and also figure out my reading list for this semester's Magical Readathon. The second semester of Magical Readathon has now moved into September, and the character I created for this readathon, Bula, has decided that she is going to be taking some new subjects this year. In spring, she sat her exams in Aldean excavation, necromancy, and story weaving, and now in autumn, she's back to try and get the three-tiered necessary grades for all three of those choices. Her primary subject is going to be Aldean excavator, and if that's all I achieve in this semester, then that's fine. The other exam subjects will just be mostly for fun and to see if I can. That being said, I think we are going to look at the TBR Tailspin game first. Let me know what your thinking is. In months where there is a readathon like Magical Readathon with a really big TBR list, would you rather see the Tailspin portion first or the Readathon TBR? Because I can kind of see both arguments in my head. The prompts for Tailspin tend to be more general, so it might be easier to do that second. But on the other hand, for the past 2 months, I have ended up with really, really big Tailspin TBRs, and I don't know that I have the heart to see those numbers keep going up and up and up and up when I've already got 14 or 15 books from the readathon. So we're going to do the spins first. I am making some changes this month though, based on some of the comments I got in the previous videos. The biggest thing is that I am going to be changing from using the physical dice that I have. They're beautiful in person, purpley, pinky, see-through, and they look gorgeous when you roll them. But even I noticed when I was filming through the camera that it wasn't always picking up the number as clearly as it could have been. And I think seeing the number that I'm rolling is more important than seeing me roll physical dice. I'm not really a gamer, so I don't have any other die kicking about. I might try and buy myself another really nice set maybe as a Christmas present, but for now I'm just going to digitally roll them. The other change I'm making with the dice is specifically for this month, but I might carry it forward depending on how it goes. In the past 2 months, I think I rolled a d12 and I got 15, 16 books. While that's not impossible in a quiet reading month, it is still a challenge, which I do like. But with the Orilium TBR, that's just not going to happen, even if I manage to overlap a fair few. So my thought is I'm going to move it up to a d20, hopefully due to just like the laws of maths and chance. We should move through the board a little faster and get slightly fewer prompts, but that does just depend on luck. The final thing that I've decided is I won't be having any music playing while I'm rolling the dice. A few people mentioned that it was distracting, and honestly, it's one less thing for me to try and edit. So, on to the rolls. So we're going to roll the first dice. And we get a 20, which is the best we could have got, and definitely justifies changing to the d20 over the d12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 14, and 20. So that's a red. We landed on a red, and those are challenge prompts. The idea of this is to read things that are included in monthly Buzzwordathon or the yearly Our Fantasy Bingo, sci-fi fantasy title challenge, etc. For this one, I am going to use the Buzzwordathon cover challenge prompt, and that is to read a book that has some kind of foliage on the cover. For this one, I have picked Edam and Weep by Linda Riley. This is number 6, the latest book in her grilled cheese mystery series. These are cozy mysteries set in a grilled cheese shop, and since I started reading them, it has really quickly become one of my all-time favourite cozy mystery series. The food descriptions always make me absolutely ravenous. In this one, Carly finds out that with this latest murder, the signs point to her mother as the culprit, so I'm hoping this one's going to be really dramatic. Okay, so we are going to spin again and hope for another 20, because that would be nice. But a 7's not bad. A 7, it could be worse. I think though, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, 5, 6, 7. So we're on the spinner, so we're gonna have to spin the tailspin. Fumble fingers there. And yeah, so we've actually come out ahead, but we're on purple. So we need to add a purple book, but we have jumped a certain amount of spaces, which is nice. So for that tailspin, it actually did us a real favour. It moved us slightly further ahead and we landed on the purple line. For the tailspin, the colours don't relate to the prompt, they relate to cover challenges. So the prompt for this one was to pick a purple cover or a book with a substantial amount of purple on the cover. And for this one, I'm going to be reading Rogue Community College by David R. Slayton. This is a spin-off novel from his Adam Binder series, which started with White Trash Warlock. The original Adam Binder trilogy, I gave every single book 5 stars, so I am really, really excited to get to this one. So our third roll is another nice high one, 17. Watch me completely fail to count. We're gonna hit the dragon. No, we're good. And that's a green. So the prompt is to read a science fiction book. So we landed on a green, and I think those might be my favourite colour to land on because that lets us pick a prompt from the prompt pile. This one is to read a sci-fi book. I don't have a huge amount of sci-fi on my TBR because it's not something I lean towards, but I do have an arc on my NetGalley shelf that I have been meaning to prioritise, and this is Nepo by S.E. Hoff. This is a futuristic dystopian story set in, I think it's 2233. This is to do with sort of legacy entertainers. Our main character, Cheyenne, is actually literally a Nepo baby in that he is a clone of an already famous celebrity and is struggling under the spotlight. In this book, we're going to see Shy break down some of those class barriers, and I think there's quite a lot of neurodivergent rep in this one. Fourth roll? I can't count. And I am punished for not counting by adding a 1, which is another red. So on that slightly underwhelming roll, we got another red, another challenge prompt. And I think what I'm going to do with this one is go for my Year in Aldea challenge because we're really not supposed to double them up with the Magical Readathon prompts. So for this month, the path I'm on, and I'm going to pick The End Crowns All by Bea Fitzgerald. I read Girl, Goddess, Queen by this author and I enjoyed her really readable writing style and the way she took on the Persephone myth. This one is a Cassandra and Helen of Troy retelling. I am really excited to read it. It has been on my shelf for way too long, but the copy I have is an absolute brick. So I think I'm going to see if I can get a digital copy. Can't be lower than a 1. Oh, perfect. So 19. As good as... Is that going to get us to the end? Yes. That's us at the end. Perfect. And so Tailspin was nowhere near as mean as it could have been this month. Changing to the higher dice definitely had a big impact on the amount of rolls that it took to get to the end. And also, I think things just worked better in terms of chance than in the previous 2 episodes. And that's perfect for me because I do have quite a lot of books to get through for the Magical Readathon TBR. So as I said, Ula's major, if you like, is going to be Aldean Excavator. This is to do with finding and researching all the magical creatures that used to exist in the Aldean continent. So she's a bit like an archaeologist. So in animal studies, she'll be studying hatchlings for her O level, and that is to read a debut book. I'm going to be reusing Nepo by S.E. Hoff. For the Q level, the prompt is to read a sequel, and for this one, I'm going to be reading Celestial Monsters by Aidan Thomas. This is the second book in the Sunbather duology, and I've been meaning to get to this one as well for so long. I gave the first book, The Sunbather Trials, 5 stars. Absolutely loved it. It was a sort of Hunger Games meets Mexican mythology, and it had a kind of tiered televised trials as we whittled down the scions of different gods to find out who was going to be sacrificed. At the end, we had a really dramatic finale, and I'm really excited to dive into this one. Then, for her distinction, she's doing Elder Dragon Care, and that is to read a book that is either the last book in the series or the most recently released book in a series. I'm going to be reading Redneck Revenant by David R. Slayton. Now, as I said about Rogue Community College, the original Adam Binder trilogy was all 5 stars for me. And this one is the kind of the next book, the sequel. The trilogy has been kind of refreshed, brought back. This is the first book that we have in however that series continues. Now, I'm going to try and read Rogue Community College first because I think some characters in that spin-off will come into this book. I might need to take a little bit of kind of organising to make sure I'm reading in the right order, but this is the most recent book available in the entire Adam Binder White Trash Warlock world. So then she'll be studying Restoration, and for her O-level she has to create an unbroken focus tonic. For this we are reading a book with a single POV. I am hoping the book I picked is a single POV. I think it will be, but if it's not, I can change this one. But the book I'm tentatively putting in here is Rogue Community College. The prompt for the Q exam is Continental Remedies, and this is to generate 5 countries and pick a book from one of them. And I did not get any countries I wanted to use. So instead, I'm going to buy a scroll and I'm going to change this prompt for something else completely. Instead, I've decided to pick Distinction for the Art of Illusion. The prompt is to read a book with a mirrored image on the cover. I'll be reading The Antlered King by Marianne Gordon. This is the second in the Raven's Trade duology. I read the first book, The Gilded Crown, just last month as part of my ARC August clearout. And this was a 5-star read. It is a very dark political fantasy with necromancy and a really toxic romance that I'm really excited to see play out in the second book. Shula's final compulsory subject for the Aldean Excavator is to get an O in the Art of Illusion. For this one, the prompt is Biome Manipulation. She has to read a book with an autumnal setting, either in the cover or in the story. For this one, I've picked Carpe Jugulum by Terry Pratchett. This to me always feels like quite a Halloween-y story because it has our witch characters going up against vampires. The setting seems like it's quite cold, dark nights, and it just always feels very autumnal to me. I'll be reading this anyway as part of the Turtle Recall group read-along on Goodreads, so this seems like a good choice. So those are her compulsory subjects for her main calling, and now we're going to go into her optional additional subjects for those extra callings that I personally want to do. The first is demonology. My theory being that she is going to use her demonology skills to help raise the animals that she's excavated and then use her story weaving powers to share them with the world. For demonology, she obviously needs to set demonology. For the O-level, she's studying Impling Outbursts, reading a book with an emotion in the title. I've picked Bored Gay Werewolf by Tony Santarella. This is one that I really don't know anything about. I picked up the book in a second-hand shop. I love the cover and I love the title, and it sounds like something that I would have a good time with. For Q, she is doing Underground Habitats and reading a book with a dungeon, cave or secret lair. When I was listening to G's description of the prompts that I immediately knew what I was reading. I'm going to be reading The Butcher's Masquerade by Matt Dinniman. This is book 5 in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. I've been listening to these on audiobook and the hype has not been overhyped. I have been loving these books. I am by no means a gamer and I usually don't like comedy in my books, particularly apart from Terry Pratchett, but Matt Dinniman has completely won me over. I am absolutely adoring this series. I'm flying through these books and I'm really excited to get to this one where I feel like the politics, bigger picture is starting to come into play a lot more. Then for distinction, she's doing New Gen Demons, and this is an author that is younger than you. I really did think this was another one I was going to have to use a scroll to switch, but with a bit of digging, I did manage to find one that was on my radar, I was interested in, and this is what we're going for because I don't want to overthink it. Grave Expectations by Alice Bell. This is a fast-paced paranormal crime novel about a group of millennials having to solve a murder. Set in a very wealthy house with a very posh family, and I'm getting real Knives Out vibes from this one. Next, we're studying spells and incantations, and for O, we're doing a good luck charm, roll a six-sided dice, and read the page count that you land on. I got a 5. And so the book that I'll be reading is A Turn of the Wheel by Catherine Labadie. This is one that I bought really recently. It's a kind of cozy romantasy, and I love the cover. I don't need to know much else about it. I'm happy to give it a try. Hopefully luck is going to be on my side. For level Q, we're doing current spell trends, and we have to read a book that was released this year. For this, I'm going to be reading Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. I think everyone has probably seen this book everywhere by now, but it is a 3 POV historical sapphic vampires. I'll be buddy reading this for the October episode of the Plotluck podcast, and so this is one of my 2 absolutely required reads, along with Carpe Jugulum. Then we're back for another round of animal studies. This came out in 2012, but as far as I can tell, it was a debut when it came out. It's Murder Buys a T-shirt by Christy Fifield. This is the first book in the Haunted Souvenir Shop Mystery series, and I'm really excited to read this one. It looks really funny, it looks really cute, and that haunted angle is just going to start us rolling the ball into October. Finally, we have Conjuration Level O Conjuring Circles. The prompt is to read a book with a circle on the cover. I've picked Point of Hopes by Melissa Scott and Lisa Barnett. This is a queer fantasy series. There are currently, I think, 6 installments, and I've bought 5 of them, so I really need to get started, and I hope that I'm going to enjoy it. I think it's got a little bit of a mystery element, quite a lot of politics. I think it's going to be a really deep world-building type of series, and I am really excited to start trying it. Then for that final calling, the Story Weaver, I have another 3 subjects to sit. The first is another O in spells, and that was the Good Luck Charm. So this time I didn't really feel like rolling dice again, because you just know my luck wouldn't hold. So instead I've used a scroll, I've switched it out, and I'm going with the Q prompt for Elemental Studies, which is to rekindle cinders, and this is a book with a romance. Looking for Group has been on my most anticipated releases since I heard about it. I love Alexis Hall's books. I always enjoy his romances, and I've been really excited to get to this re-release. It's about 2 teenagers who meet through D&D online. I actually pre-ordered my copy through Waterstones and they cancelled it. So I'm really excited to actually go to the shops and get myself a copy and sit down and have an afternoon with this one. The other subject she'll be taking for story reading is Inscription, and she needs to get an O and a Q. For O, we are doing The Magic of Primes, and that is to read a book whose title is a prime number. I counted a lot of titles for this prompt, but eventually I found An Uncommon Betrothal by Johannes T. Evans. This is one of my favourite queer authors, and he writes an awful lot of short stories, but this is a full-length novella, so I'm really excited to get to this one. This is about an introverted academic who develops a crush on his new butler. There's going to be some disability rep here, some chronic pain, some class dynamics, and lots of feelings. And then the final book on this TBR is Inscription Q, which is to read a book with a vertical title on the cover, and I'm not doing that because I did look and I honestly don't think I have any on my shelf that I haven't read that have that vertical title. And the problem is so many of my books are ebooks and I can't check those spines. So again, I have the points. I'm just going to buy a scroll and not worry about it. Instead, I'm just going to switch it up for the D inscription prompt, which I don't have to do. I'm going to bring that down and do it for this level, and that's to read a book with an animal on the cover. For this one, I'm going to read Cinnamon Twisted by Ginger Bolton. This is the 7th book in her Deputy Donut Mystery series, and is about Emily, who runs a donut shop. I've been really enjoying this series. I really love the cafe. I love Kat, Deputy Donut herself, and I'm really enjoying the really slow burn romance that's been building alongside all the mysteries. So there you have it. That is my TBR for the month of September. By my admittedly very shaky math skills, that gives me 18 books that I'm going to try and read this month. Some of them are cozy mysteries, and I do tend to get through those fairly quickly. But there's also at least one 500-page book in the 500-page prompt, and Bury Your Bones, I suspect, is going to be a really slow read anyway, so I'm not overconfident. I think we'll see. I'm tentatively hopeful. The ones I absolutely need to get read are Carpe Jugulum for the Turtle Recall Challenge and Bury Your Bones for the Plotluck podcast. Other than those, I would like to really prioritise Edam and Weep and Rogue Community College because those will hit those monthly challenges as well. Then after that, the Aldean Excavationist books will be the priority, with the others being nice bonuses if I get there. I plan on vlogging my Orilium reads at least once a week, so please, if you're interested, please subscribe to the channel so you can see when those go up. Let me know what you are reading in September. Are you still in the summer month mood, or are you moving down through into getting ready for Halloween and all the kind of spooky, cozy season stuff? At the moment, I feel like I'm somewhere in the middle. I am still really enjoying all the summer sunshine and heat, but I do know that I'm going to really enjoy that cozy sweater weather once we get there. If you're doing Magical Readathon, let me know what your character's name is. Let me know what they're studying. I would love to hear a bit more about my classmates. And let me know the book you are most excited to read this month. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.